What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. If you guys noticed that, what the hell is up my arm? Oh, it's hair. If you guys notice the lighting is kind of gloomy a little bit, that's because it's actually like so gloomy outside right now. Like, I can't even describe it. So don't mind it. But today's WWE news video. Actually, let me turn the lighting up on my laptop. Anyway, today's WWE news video is going to be rather unique because there's a new faction on NXT. Daniel Bryan's contract has legitimately expired, from what I understand, and we have the location for Extreme Rules. So let's actually talk about that. So obviously we know that last year's Extreme Rules was known as the horror show at Extreme Rules. And it's interesting because the reason why it was known as the horror show at Extreme Rules from last year, if you guys remember, the matches that were on the card were actually kind of interesting because we had because one of the big matches that was like huge was Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins in a match that was known as Eye for an Eye. And then, of course, we had the swamp fight between Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, which apparently the Universal Championship was not defended, which is kind of interesting. But apparently, according to reports, there's been reports saying that Extreme Rules will be held inside the WWE Thunderdome at the Yuengling Center on the campus of the University of South Florida in Tampa. There's been no word on whether or not the horror show will be implemented for this year's show, but I really don't think so. But that received so many bad reviews saying that the show sucked and whatnot. Honestly, I'm gonna have to agree. The show absolutely sucked. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were some matches on the card that were like really good. There were some matches on the card that were really good. I mean, Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE Championship. That was actually pretty good. I have to admit, but the funny thing is that with this one, the stipulation was only Dolph Ziggler can implement the Extreme Rules ruling. Meaning, for Dolph, no rules. Low blow, legal. Kendo stick, legal. Table, legal. For Drew McIntyre, any of that, he drops the WWE Championship to Dolph Ziggler, which honestly was brilliant. But we all know how that came about in the end. And then, of course, too, we have Bayley versus Nikki Cross for the SmackDown Women's title. Sasha Banks versus Asuka for the Raw Women's title, which I believe... Yes, I believe Sasha Banks actually defeated Asuka or rather Asuka defeated Banks to win the Raw Women's title because, that didn't really go so well. That didn't go so well for that matchup. Apparently though, we know as well that WrestleMania Backlash, Money in the Bank, and Extreme Rules are all going to take place inside the Thunderdome, which begs the question, what's going to happen with SummerSlam? Well, apparently reports are stating that if this promotion was AEW, if you guys know anything about that, let me know in the comments below. What's going on with AEW? Let me know in the comments. I don't really know. I heard something about some War Games knockoff. I don't know what the hell. I don't know. I don't watch AEW. I really don't care for AEW. But if you guys know anything about them, let me know in the comments below. Let me know who's good, who's not. I really don't watch it. So, but apparently there were reports stating that if they are going back on tour sometime in July, then apparently WWE is actually considering jumping ahead of them, which will give WWE the chance to bring in paying fans like they did with WrestleMania. And from what I've been hearing, from the rumors I've heard, SummerSlam will not take place in Florida, but it's going to take place, I believe, here in California. From what I've been hearing, I don't know if the rumors are true, but honestly, given the fact, given Extreme Rules, I'm not surprised that they're hosting it inside the Thunderdome. But I'm kind of curious as to where what matches are going to be on the card for this year. But it's going to be interesting, to say the very least. Alright, you guys, Daniel Bryan's contract apparently has officially been expired. Apparently, from what I've been hearing, Daniel Bryan's match with Roman was actually Daniel Bryan's last match ever in WWE. There were rumors that his contract was originally supposed to have expired in September, but unfortunately that was not the case, because Daniel Bryan was in a interview, and again, I do not want to get, and again, I don't want to get copyright. So big shout outs to Daniel Bryan for being interviewed and for what he had to say. Again, don't want to get copyrighted, but he basically just says, quote, "It's funny that people gravitate towards the date September, and I think it's because that's when my last contract ended. But it doesn't end in September." And let's see. I'm still trying to figure out what that looks like. I had a tag team match on SmackDown last Friday, and it was a lot of fun, but my neck was just wrecked. So there's been rumors saying that apparently he's staying. Apparently, there are rumors stating that he is going to be in WWE, but there are other people saying that he's not going to re-sign with WWE, which I honestly don't know what to believe. All I know is that if he is staying with WWE, it's mostly because I think it's mostly because he's gonna go back home and take care take care of his family, and then when the time is right, jump ship over to Raw or to NXT, which personally I kind of want to see Daniel Bryan in NXT, because there's a lot of superstars that Daniel Bryan has yet to face in WWE. You got Finn Balor, you got Pete Dunne, you got Kyle O'Reilly, you've got Karrion Kross, you've got Adam Cole, so many more. I feel like as if Daniel Bryan should go to NXT rather than Monday Night Raw, because if he were to go to Monday Night Raw and if he were to go up against a guy like, say, Bobby Lashley, there's no doubt. Excuse me. There's no doubt that Daniel Bryan, his neck will get injured, which actually ties into something that has been bugging me for a bit. There's been hang on, guys. And apparently, from what I've been hearing, his contract again. So his contract has expired, but apparently he is not released. So odds are again he could be staying in NXT, which he could be going to NXT where his WWE career kind of started. But honestly, I do wish. Honestly, I do speak for everybody who's a fan of Daniel Bryan, myself included, when I say that. I mean, I hope that wherever Daniel Bryan goes, he'll do great. I know that whether it's, whether he does go to Raw, whether he goes to NXT, or whether he goes across the pond to NXT UK, or whether he goes to another promotion, I know that he's going to do incredible. That there are big things coming his way. But again, given the fact that Daniel Bryan had apparently given the fact that Daniel Bryan is such an amazing talent, I'm surprised that he has yet to re-sign, which I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that that's what's going on. Daniel Bryan's contract has expired, but nobody knows what he's going to do next. But my guess, he'll probably end up going to NXT most likely. But we have a brand new faction on NXT, and it actually and it's kind of interesting because if you guys remember, today's what, Thursday at the time of recording? Yes. So this past Tuesday there was a Falls Count Anywhere match between Isiah Swerve and Leon Ruff, and at the closing moments of the matchup, Leon Ruff was on top of the area where the camera points to the superstars. If you're watching it from the TV, the commentators are on the right and the stage is on the left. That he was in that they were in that area, and a guy by the name of AJ Francis had grabbed Leon Ruff and just drove him onto the barricade, which allowed Isiah Swerve to pick up the victory. Apparently Scott's faction consists of himself, AJ Francis, Brianna Brandy, and of all people, Ashanti the Adonis. It's kind of interesting that Adonis is in the faction, if it is true, because Ashanti the Adonis has been so dominant now, over on, not just in NXT but also on 205 Live as well. He's had quite the impressive win loss streak in both promotions. I'm surprised he hasn't challenged for a championship, but for those who don't know, Brianna Brandy was signed back in August of 2019, and Adonis, again, as I mentioned, he's been a staple on 205 Live since the pandemic, last year, and And if you guys don't, if you guys remember Anthony Henry from Evolve, he also debuted as well on NXT this past Tuesday as Asher Hale in a loss to Cameron Grimes. But AJ Francis is actually is not only a former NFL star, but he's also he actually hosts the brand new show on A&E, WWE's Most Wanted Treasures, in which what he does is he goes to, you know, legends, Hall of Famers, you know, and try to see if they can take, you know, he can take these hidden, you know, items and put them into the WWE archives, so the whole world, so the whole world can see. I think recently he did The Undertaker, and he brought over the Undertaker's purple gear, which was the signification of him of the Undertaker becoming a babyface, and then also brought the mask that he wore as well when he had his rivalry with King Mabel. So honestly, this new faction, I love it. This new attitude of Scott's, I love it. I think this new attitude of his could really soar him to new heights we've never seen before. Which there's really no telling, you know, what could happen. There's really no telling what. There's really no telling what this faction will do. There's really no telling. But honestly, as far as like a fifth faction member, I don't know. That's kind of an interesting one. I think Leon Ruff. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, I think maybe Leon Ruff. Scott can go after the NXT Championship. Adonis and Francis can go after could potentially go after the tag titles. Brandy could go after the women's title. Ruff can go after, and Ruff can attempt to regain the North American title. Which again, this would be the new Undisputed Era. Just take all the gold in NXT and just dominate with an iron fist. In my honest opinion. But guys, that is going to do it for this video. Again, there really wasn't anything too crazy, but question of the day, where do you want to see Daniel Bryan go with his contract expiring? Let me know in the comments below, and that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys want more, and you guys want more WWE news videos, which gets posted every Thursday, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you guys don't miss out on any new content that comes your way. Be sure to check me out on Twitter and Instagram. All the links are going to be down in the description. If you guys have fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.